welcome to the BOP, the BLERD official podcast. We have had a dramatic day already.
Thank you.
We are so excited. Everyone is here. Everyone is here in one piece. Christi Renee, how are you? I know your apartment just caught on fire.
Through the fire, honey. Through the fire.
Through the flames.
I am a diamond, honey. I'm a diamond.
Yes. Through the flames. You are here for the people. Like literally, you just put out the fire in your place. Your light caught on fire. Literally. We are so happy you survived. Your family is good. Everybody's good.
Yes,
you're good.
Everybody's good. We might have a little smoke inhalation issues, but we're all okay. It is. I know it is comical when you again, if you could just see the frantic nature of everybody, but we all jumped in to like make it.
Yeah,
stay alive. I just can't be burning stuff down. Like I don't have time for that. That is not in my schedule. That ain't part of the BOP. It ain't part of the school. It's not part of none of that. So
yes, and we are thankful that you are here. Talk about professionalism.
Honey,
I mean, I would have called it a day. If my green screen caught on fire, if I'd used my green screen to put out the fire, I would have called it a day. Hilton George, you and I, we need to raise our game on our professionalism. Because I'm telling you right now, if I have to use my green screen, I got to use my webcam to put out the flames. We're gonna call the show that day.
I've been playing the tramps off camera here. Burn, baby, burn, Disco Inferno.
Y'all got the jokes.
It's just in my head now, you know. That's gonna be the theme song from here on out. That crashing entrance. Dun, 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 dun.
And to make it all better, to make it just like the classic moment. This entire time, I'm just in my bra and my pants because
why was your camera not rolling?
That's it. That's all. And we're fanning. I'm run. It's room to room. It's like what? It's
traumatized your children.
I'm waiting waiting on maintenance in my bra and my pants. So it's hysterical. It's hysterical.
Now, for those of y'all out there who don't know, this is not something that happened over the course of hours. This was 10 minutes. This is the last time. This is not like something that happened over the course of 2-3 days. This is like 10 minutes before we came on camera. Her house burnt down, and she's standing in front of us. Look, the bangs ain't off. Everything. She even kept the cloth in place.
Professionalism. We're waiting for Christi to join the stream, and she literally my phone starts ringing, and I'm like, "Why is she calling?" But I knew because she was calling me. Something was happening, and so our producer Dana mutes my mic, and her and Hilton are having a whole side conversation. They're like, well, is it Christi? Because it must be Christi. Because Christi, somebody's calling her. She wouldn't pick up her phone if it was.
Right.
They know, right? And she tells me that her light caught on fire.
You hear the sirens in the background.
This was like Hilton said. This was literally 10 minutes ago. It wasn't yesterday. It wasn't an hour ago. It was 10 minutes. And she still wanted to do the show. So that just tells you, she's still on fire. Look at
anytime you have somebody who's about to be late for work and the house is still on fire and you have the wherewithal to get on the phone and be like, I'm going to be a minute while you beating out flames with the other arm. I'm good. Keep everybody in place. I'll be on in a minute.
I mean.
And two dogs running around. It's like we got a zoo. It's the kid. It's just a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm here. And
you are here.
I'm here. I'm happy.
Yes. And thank you so much for being
You get the Denzel point for that. Yes, you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I salute you, girlfriend. Okay, so we are going to jump into this show because I could talk about this fire for the next 20 minutes. I mean, literally. I mean, the jokes. We might insert the jokes here. Like we might, because we didn't have a whole behind the
comment section around here somewhere. We want to see what the jokes.
I might insert some behind the scenes stuff like right here, just so they can die laughing because we had to make her laugh. Like you gotta you gotta laugh
to keep them crying.
In the studios,
So
okay, so
let's go. What you got?
Let's go. Okay, so guys, this week I've been obsessed. And it just really brought up so many thoughts and emotions. There's a new show on Netflix called Inventing Anna. It is produced by Shonda Rhimes, and it is a true story. True story. It's been out for more than a week, so we can talk about it. We're not spoiling it for anyone. And if you have not watched it, this is your time to just fast forward to the next segment, because Inventing Anna is about a girl named Anna Sorkin, and she was known as Anna Delvey in New York society. And she had the entire city fooled. She had people thinking that she was a German heiress. And this is real life. This is not real life. Real. This is not something that Shonda Rhimes, she is great at creating characters. She is great at creating plot lines. All of these things happened. And she literally was stealing money from everyone. She was living the lifestyle that we only could dream of in New York City. She was shopping. She was rubbing elbows. She literally had like 3 or 4 major financial institutions ready to give her money, ready to give her I think it was like $42 million, something crazy, for her to create this social club and to create the Anna Delvey Foundation. And like, these are professional people. These aren't like crazy people. These aren't like stupid people. These are educated people. This girl had so much finesse and so much, I don't know what it was, but I just was like sitting here watching this and going, any person of color would never get away with this. Like, never. Like, she was at a hotel and she stayed there for like 6 months, and never did they have a proper payment, and never did they have a credit card that worked. And she just kept telling them, oh, my father, he's a German, he's a German billionaire, he's going to send you a wire. And they would take her word. And she would, and I mean, literally, guys, not to ruin the whole show for people, but it just brought up so many thoughts, because I know for a fact, like, I check into hotels every weekend. Yeah. They're like, we need your hotel's paid for, but we need that card for incidentals. Like, even hotels that don't have room service, they are like, we need that card for incidentals. So how this woman got away? Yeah, I don't know how she got away with it. Have you guys seen this? Have you seen this series yet? You've seen it. Okay, Hilton, give me your thoughts, because it's so interesting that she was able to dupe so many people. And like, and it all boiled down to the fact that she did all of this because she wanted to be famous.
She wanted to be famous. She wanted, this is, I saw 2 things. This was someone who I think clearly convinced herself of her own lies. And there's an amazing superpower of believing your own bullshit that we have seen in the extreme in the show. Second, it pulls the veil back on how the upper crust operate. You know, I think I saw an interview with Snoop Dogg many moons ago where he was talking about, once I became rich and famous, I didn't have to spend any money anymore, because all the clothes that I would normally go out and buy, they're sending to me to wear. All the places that I would normally have to pay money to go to are letting me in free. And they, you know, so I got more because I had more. And, you know, this was one of those things where somebody could come in and convince, you know, a plurality of what we would consider our royalty, if you will, the Kardashian tier of rich kids and billionaires and millionaires in society, that if you have a certain amount of money, you really don't have to spend that much money. If you're eating dinner with 10 billionaires or millionaires, who picks up the $30,000 check is meaningless. You know, but nobody's going to split the bill and be like, okay, you bought the tartar and you got the, they're just like, my card has got everybody, because the interest payment on my bank account, you know, my savings account, you know, makes more than what we're talking about here. So she came through, and this is a true story. I actually saw the documentary about a year ago on this. Now, it had a lot less detail and information because it was made maybe 2 or 3 years before this, and the research and everything around it, the trial and everything came out. But just watching the real people And the real story was that everyone just assumed that she was good for it. Like if you're sitting next to somebody that's got $1 million and over here someone who's got 10 million and you've got 0, but they think you got 20 million, you can spend their money and no one's going to say anything. We're going to go on a trip to Morocco and we're going to go in the store and buy out the back room and all this stuff. And people just assume and they just let you sign and go.
Yeah. And what was so funny to me, you're absolutely right about that. It was because she knew how to play the part. Like she literally knew, like as people would say, she has to be rich. I mean, she dressed impeccably. They would say she's not even nice. She's so rich that she's mean. She's mean to people and she treats them like, you know, and only really rich people would treat people that way. You know, she just knew how to play the game. And it blew my mind. Like I was just like, and then even the girl, like, because it follows, it's two stories. It's, you know, Anna's story, but then it's also the people that were affected by her. And it's kind of being told through a woman who worked for a newspaper, and she basically is doing a story on Anna. And she even, like, she sees these people, she meets the people, and she knows like people that she took money from and people she scammed, and even she kind of fell in awe of her and fell in love with her and couldn't believe, like she went all the way to Germany to meet her parents because she goes, there has to be something that happened to this girl to create Anna. She could not believe that this woman was just a narcissist, a sociopath, criminal. Like she was just a criminal.
And let me say, Karen, because you're in show business and you know you bounce around in these circles, you know, in your business, your line of work, I know that you have run across people to one degree or another live in this kind of again, bullshit artists. You know, you kind of meet people who are like, when you meet them, they elevate themselves, but it doesn't take long for you just meet one person that knew them or something, and you're like, oh, this person is really here, and they were acting like they were here. But your BS detector usually can get those people cleared out. But this person, this girl went for months and years in the same circles, advancing, like she was getting bigger and her perception of more money and purpose and all this stuff, which just completely blows my mind.
Well, this was one of the best things that kind of kept it hidden was that the people that were being duped by her were embarrassed. They were embarrassed that she was able to dupe them. So then she wasn't, like, they didn't out her because they didn't want to out themselves. They didn't want to be embarrassed that she actually came in. And like, there's one woman who kind of had her, Anna stayed at her house, her and her boyfriend. And she kind of treated Anna like just a gopher. Like she was like, go get us dinner, go get us lunch. And she'd give her credit card. Well, then later she found out that, you know, she had stolen like over $200,000 or some astronomical amount. Yeah. 400. Was it 400? Yes. It was an astronomical amount. And she didn't press charges against her because she didn't want anyone else knowing that Anna had taken advantage of her. Right. So that kind of helped. Like she kind of knew the game. It's so crazy. But Christi, what are your thoughts?
Listen, you hit the nail on the head. Two things. One is, I, like Hilton, saw the documentary when it first came out. Yeah. And I again, you know, that's on my, it's got to be winter break, summer break, spring break, so I can catch up. But I'm going to tell you why I know for a fact I'm going to watch now this new series is because this limited. I guess it's limited because the story is told. It's done. It's true. But Julia Garner is one of my favorite people on the planet because I love Ozark. As Ruth, let me tell you, I knew then, and she is just this little shiny flower. She's just so, I love her. She's a spitfire of a character. Like she tells the story when she was on one of the late night shows recently, and she talks about how she went to the prison to meet Anna, the real Anna, and she was tickled pink because she started imitating her, and she was like, that's very good. Like and then she starts to talk to her. She's like, you look poor. She does this whole exchange. And it's like, I just can't even believe I'm there. But I'm gonna tell you, my first thought was exactly what you said, Karen, opening up, is that this couldn't have been one of us. Right. But I
don't think a person of color could have gotten away with this.
Now it makes me think
definitely not a Black person.
Right. But and also that story, just in general, just kind of made me think of that Will Smith movie. What is it? 6 Degrees of Separation.
Yeah.
Is that the one? So it's that whole, like, he ain't get far. He ain't get far. He ain't get that far. It didn't take long. But she did a number. I mean, but when I was watching like I said, the documentary, I was like, oh, hell no, we couldn't have done that.
Well, the thing that stood out to me is that this is the same New York circle that Donald Trump circles in.
Yeah.
And so if you think about how we talk about how, it's coming out and it's continuing to come out, how much money he doesn't have.
Yeah.
And how many businesses he doesn't have, or success he doesn't have,
down to the ground.
But his branding and all of this, like, and everyone's like, well, how can he claim to be a billionaire if he's not a billionaire? And how can he claim to own a building if he doesn't own a building? I said, because it's all about perception. That building with his name on it, he doesn't own. He put his name on it in partnership with the building in order to boost their brand so they can sell units. And that's his relationship. He didn't build anything. But how do you, America, like people who don't live in a New York City type of socialite, world, can't fathom someone not being themselves to the point that a Donald Trump would be. And you wonder, like, okay, Donald Trump's been 40 years living and running around, Manhattan and New York, claiming to be this, that, with the Bachelor, not the Bachelor, but the
Apprentice,
the Apprentice and all this sort of stuff. How could it possibly be? And then you watch this show, you watch this series, and you see how people move. And the folks that, just like you said, they lose more than what was stolen from them in cachet and clout by exposing the fact that they got taken, than what they would by actually trying to get their money back by going to the authorities and prosecuting this person. So they all just kind of just walk away and disappear, you know, so.
Well, and that's even the way that her attorney kind of prefaced it and kind of helped set up her defense, was that this is what people do. This is what we do. We have social media. We all are creating a brand. This is what we do. So why is it that she, is now going to be in trouble for things that we all do? We all lie. We all put on, an air of what, and it was like, okay, people might do that. You might set up your brand. You might even set up certain situations, but we're not getting hundreds, millions of dollars from people. We're not taking advantage of people, that there's a huge difference.
That's theft. That's that. Yeah, it's theft. And what they do is they try to soften it up. Given whatever, the demographic or whatever it looks like, and they try to, wash it a little bit based on, and now that's, you a liar and a thief, and let's deal with you accordingly. Because I know
the crazy thing
was me got found out, it's all shut down. From my
the crazy thing is that she didn't actually end up stealing from most of the people who she got money from. So again, I'm trying not to do too much spoiling, but she would be in a situation where, either one of her cards wouldn't work or the money wasn't getting transferred. And she's surrounded by people who either have money or have access to money and front her, okay, fine, I'll let them run my card, or I'll loan you the money. And, or, because they, like in the court case, she said the main plaintiff, the girl who got on the stand, who's, it's like, look, how many dresses did she buy? How many shopping sprees did she take you on? How many places did she fly you to? Did she ask for that money back? The amount of money that she spent on you, even if you want to assume that it's just to fool you to think that she had more money than she had, is more than the money that you paid for something you didn't think you were supposed to pay for, and now are mad that she's not paying you back. You didn't have a written contract. You didn't loan her the money. You were just in the situation where you're like, all right, just use my card. And you were kind of a gentleman's agreement. So she didn't even get prosecuted for the money that she actually stole.
And she was smart.
Because I didn't ask for it. You never told me it was a loan.
Yeah.
We all paid for people's stuff. I'll pick up
the worst,
check.
but she was smart. And she was like con artist 101. Like she knew, she started to realize like who would work for her or who would help her or who would, like she made friends with the girl at the hotel. And she was like, you need to connect me. And the girl just went, like, she gave her every connection in New York. And basically there's a line that one actress tells her, she goes, you are basically the secretary to the devil. Like you are helping her. You're helping her.
Yeah. She was ride or die though. That sister was ride or die. I was like, Lord.
Yeah. And even when she found out that the jig was up, that this girl had made up her whole life, she still in her mind was like, I just can't believe it. Like she's the real deal. I've seen her at parties and I've seen her in circles and I've seen her. And it was just baffling to me how ride or die this girl was. And even when one of the friends got, basically got robbed by her, she still was like, well, it's your fault. Like you turned her in. And I'm like, I would turn her in too if she charged on my corporate card.
I mean,
$60,000 or something crazy.
Can I confess that I have actually known people who have claimed to be like African princes or the equivalent of princes in their country back in Africa, back in college. And turns out that they were, but they never have access to their money in the way that somebody who just had a bunch of money had. Like, that my dad is like the king of this tribe and millions of dollars. Right. But I have a trust fund that meters out like $20,000 a month. So I can go balls crazy up to $20,000 a month. So, whatever. But then there's that thing in the back of your head, like, how could I even research this in 1996? Right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go online and look up your tribe and find out the gross national product of your country and all this stuff. And you running around here throwing hundreds of dollars and throwing these big parties and picking up your friends in buses and stuff. And, we don't know. But we do find out, after college and after, people move on, time does reveal. But there are those situations where the implication of wealth is as valuable as wealth itself in certain circles. People, don't really know what that means until you're around somebody who's rich. I'm telling you, I've been around what they call ballers. I've been around ballers, and the guy in the center of the VIP who's pointing and yelling and getting the bottles coming in and all this stuff and throwing the cards around, that's an intoxicating environment to be in. And it's very it's powerful, and it's powerful in convincing people that you have money that you may not have.
Yeah.
You sit in a VIP throwing money around.
Either.
Nobody questions.
It's usually the one who's doing that, the loudest one is the one who's the brokest. Because people who are really rich, like I've been around really, really rich people.
Mum's the word.
Want anyone to know. Like they do not want anyone to they don't pay for anything. They get everything for free, and they don't want anyone to know how much money.
Never carries
really
cash.
Have. Yeah, and it's like, and it blows your mind because they are. Yeah, you're right. They're usually very cheap, and they don't want anyone to know. They, and it's not the one who's the loudest at the party or throwing around the money. Yeah, it's so crazy.
But I will tell you, Christi, you are absolutely right. This young lady is going to get nominated for an Emmy for this.
Julia Garner.
I think she. Because her work in Ozark is how I knew her and how I met her.
Yes.
And in this series, she plays this part so well. I mean, having seen the documentary and knowing who she's imitating or who she's portraying maybe gives me a little bit more of an insight than the average viewer.
Yeah.
But I'm like, whoa, she really captured the weird accent. It's kind of hard to place.
Yes.
The mannerism.
Because it was made up.
It was weird. Yeah. It was really weird.
I mean, Anna created that for herself. Yeah. So now, Julia has to come in and learn this fake accent. But she's, and let me tell you how good. I'm glad you touched back on Julia, the actor that's in this role. She is I saw her, and this was probably a month ago. It was over winter break. See, I had time. And she's in a movie called The Assistant. Okay. And it's dark. It's kind of, it's a little ominous, but it's in this, it's in that environment of acting, of Hollywood. And she works for like a casting director or a film writer. So it's in this office setting. So it's very quiet. It's kind of a slow burn. But it just tells the story of this girl who is like a temp, and she's goes to this job. It's just incredible, but it's like I said, it's quiet. So a lot of the acting is in her raw emotion of responding and reacting to, and just trying to be this very straight and narrow, still character. But it kind of touches on how crappy, you know, the casting guy is, and you know, and they're in this. It's kind of
that world.
That world.
Yeah,
it's that world, and
world.
she kind of has to walk a fine line of trying to figure out, does she say something? She goes to HR at one point, and then he chews her out. But the scripting, the lighting, the camera, all of it is very unique, and she is just brilliant. She's brilliant. I love her.
She's probably one of the most impressive actresses I've seen. That just came out of nowhere.
Like
nowhere. The first time I saw Ozark,
that was it.
Like she jumps off the screen as Ruth. And and Ozark is in its last season, so y'all know
that's another thing, right?
I am in y'all know what, I never want the party to end. I never want a show to, and Ozark, it's written so well. Yes. The cast is so amazing. And we've gotten the first part, like it's part 1 of the last season. This girl, like I remember the first scene I saw her in Ozark, you know, and she just is electrifying.
She is.
And so when I heard that she was going to play Anna Delvey, I was like, oh my gosh, like I could not wait to watch this. Like I literally watched it the day it was released. Shonda Rhimes, y'all know I'm a huge Shonda fan. Shonda can do no wrong for me.
Okay.
So impressive. No wrong. What Hilton? Okay. Don't you talk?
Yeah, don't you listen. She did so well with this series that one of my friends who was watching it with me, she's like, didn't know that it was a true story.
Yeah.
She's like, oh wait, this really happened? I'm like, yeah. What? I was like, yeah. If you see, there's a scene. There's a in the beginning of each episode, it's like everything in this series is true except for the stuff we made up.
Yeah.
And you know. And having seen the documentary, I know the stuff that at least what they knew up to a certain point. So I'm watching it play out on screen, you know, and I'm like, it's so well done. And it's such a fantastical story that you think it's the next, you know, scandal or, you know, right. It's like, oh my God, this has to be a fictional.
Shonda would write.
Shonda Rhimes just comes up with these amazing stories. Like, no, this actually happened. Like every other part of this is true. You know, maybe little bits of dialogue that no one could know whether or not it actually happened between characters is limited, but the actual occurrences, you know, her sitting in front of the bank executive, chewing him out, getting the other bank executive to apologize and give her $200,000 as a token of him, you know, stuff like that. They're just like,
that's crazy.
Like you can't write this. Like you can't make this stuff up.
You cannot make this stuff up. And like that's the thing that caught Shonda Rhimes. Like she did a whole interview. Like I've been obsessed with this before it even came out. And she said, I read about this girl. And then when I saw her, I was like, how the heck did she do this? Because she said in her mind she had fantasized that Anna Delvey was like a model or somebody. And she was like, she was the most normal looking woman, average looking woman. And she goes, and she literally duped all of New York. She said, I couldn't wait to do the story. Like when she went to have her meeting with Netflix and was like, hey, I'm going to move over to Netflix. She told them, I'm doing this story. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I was so elated that Shonda was going to handle this because I knew she would cast properly. Like she would make sure to get just actors that were amazing, like just amazing.
And a lot of them are unknown. There's a lot of new faces in this show, which I think even it allows us to fall deeper into the story because we're not looking at a whole lot of actors who have played other characters. Yeah. So all we know, even, you know, our girl who plays Anna, you know, is relatively new. Yeah. So it's easy for us to just kind of like accept all the characters at face value and just follow their story as opposed to, oh, like that star is really big, and my mind is going all these places because of all the things they've done. So you're right, Shonda is an amazing casting. The choices that she made in the show, I think, really helped. Absolutely.
And one thing I will say, I mean, if you get into the Shonda Rhimes umbrella, because a lot of these people are new, but a lot of these people are people that she has worked with. Because like, you know, Katie Lowe's, who plays Rachel, who was the one who got, you know, was in Monaco with her. She was on Scandal. You think about, what's her name? Jerry Perry. He's one of the writers who's helping you know, he was on Scandal. The woman who was duped by her, she played, you know, on Grey's Anatomy. Like, it's almost like, Shonda Rhimes, call me, because I'll be in all of your projects. Right. Just, I'll be the fly on the wall, Shonda. I will do whatever, because if
I will be the guy that walks from stage right to stage left and doesn't look at the camera.
Exactly. And you'll do it perfectly.
I'll be the one to put out the fires.
Yes. Christi will set that shit on fire and then put it out.
And put it out.
I am trying to tell you, Shonda, we are here. Because I mean, it's literally like you're going to get a lifelong, you know, career with her. Yeah. Even one of the girls, her name is, she's the like, she was like on Grey's Anatomy. She played a mean doctor, and now she had a really cool part in this. Like, it's just amazing. I want to give kudos to Shonda Rhimes. Yeah, she did that on the Anna Delvey story. She did it. Oh my gosh. But guys, switching gears, I saw this meme. It wasn't even a meme. It was somebody on TikTok, and she literally posted this, and she said, this is exactly what she wrote on her. It was a picture of her. It's a woman. She's sitting on a plane, and she says, I just flew 11 hours to an entirely different country for a person I met 24 hours ago. So this woman is on a plane. She flew 11 hours just to meet a person that she met 24 hours ago. It was enough to get her there. What is the craziest thing that you guys have done for love? Because she obviously said 24 hours ago, he's the one. She's the one. I don't know who she was flying to see. I don't know that I've ever been that crazy.
Yeah, no, I ain't doing nothing that I'm not trying to be on milk cartons or nothing like that. I've never done anything. I can't relate.
I wouldn't say that.
I racked my brain about
this. When it comes to love, I'm more organized. So I don't do crazy stuff for love. But lust and the promise of a really, really good party or good time. I've done some pretty dumb shit. Like I look back and like the trade-off of even the best case scenario for some of the stuff I did back in my college years and the army and stuff like that. I'm just like, you know, I could have died there. Like they would have never known. Like, you know, like being in South Korea and getting off the train in a rural stop, like not Seoul or Kaesong or like where there's a base, but like places where a black person over 5 feet is a Wookiee. Like people like, you know, trying to talk to a girl. So most of my big mistakes have been me listening to the wrong brain. But when it comes to love, because love is like you're like, okay, I need to straighten up.
Right, you got to think hard about
even
love.
Keel.
But a good
time.
You
know. But not dangerous stuff, you know.
Well, then let me rephrase the question. What is the craziest thing that you have done for a good time? Because it may not have been a lifetime, but it was definitely a good time. I'll go and say there was a time I went to New York and I just went for the weekend, and literally I was having so much fun that I ended up staying for like 3-4 weeks. And I was like, to the point where my friends started to call me and they were like, you need to come home. Like one of my friends, like she went berserk on me and was like, you need to come home. Are you in love? What is happening? And I wasn't in love. I was just having fun. Like it was like, but yeah, like I could have died. Like I didn't know this person that well. I didn't know him that well. Where I would just like, you know, change my.
I missed that part of the story. Hold on.
Yeah, no, I was there hanging out with someone, and I didn't know him that well, but we were having fun. Like it was like the first time I'd been to New York, and I wasn't just in Manhattan. I was like all over every borough, and it was the first time I'd had a lot of fun, and I ended up staying like my weekend turned to like 3-4 weeks, to the point where my friends were like, you need to come home. Like, what is this? And I was like, and I had to like shake them and go, look, guys, I'm not moving here. Like, it's just a party. Stop. Like, I'm not moving here. I ain't in love. I'm not doing any of that. But they had to question me. And then I thought about it and was like, yeah, you do need to go home. Like, what is this? What life are you living?
There's a life to be lived.
Yeah.
No, I think that by today's standards, a lot of things that we did for those of us who came of age in the 90s, this is why I think the 90s was the best decade to grow up in.
It was,
because we had all of everything that you have now, cell phones and cars and easy access to planes and stuff like that. We could travel and all this stuff, but without the constant surveillance that might curtail some of our choices and activities for wanting to keep our lives together.
No one was going to put what you did at the club online, and like we kept it secret. Like what happened in Vegas stayed in Vegas. Right. It was not like when we were throwing up and someone's holding your hair on the side of the road. Nobody was filming that, because it was like, this is the memory we're going to keep for ourselves. When you had almost had alcohol poisoning because you partied way too hard, no one was going to tell anybody that. You know what I'm saying?
And look, these are formative years for us too. There is a time and a place where I think that you do have to take these crazy risks, and you have to kind of push caution to the wind, and you have to go for what you know. And there's an era of your age gap, and that might be the teens for some people, it might be your 20s for other people, but you definitely meet people who didn't do it at all, and you can tell that they're kind of like, they're crawling in their own skin. They're kind of like, I didn't live, right. So I never went to like New York or something like that and disappeared, but I went to a lot of college campus parties when I was in college. I would travel anywhere and alone. And I would be paying for the gas out of the change that has fallen into the crack in the seat. Back when $5 was fill your gas tank. Right. That was a beautiful era. I said the 90s was great for a reason, right?
Yeah, that's part of it.
The craziest thing I did. Well, the craziest thing I did was driving out to Philadelphia for the Black College weekend, the Black Greek weekend, and it was just one of those college events. And I don't think I told anybody I was going, and I didn't even tell the people who I was staying with that I was coming. I was staying in a frat house. I literally. If you're Greek, anyone out there who's Greek knows the term leaning on the shield, right? And it's kind of like your credit card for being in a Greek letter organization. Where like you come in, and there's a side chapter house that's in Philly, and I knew where it was. Lord knows I don't know how I found this place in Little Philly, but I pulled up in front of it and I grabbed my bag and I walked up to the door. I knocked on the door. Brother answers the door and I'm like, hi, this is my chapter, this is my year, this is my number, I'm here to party this weekend. And
they're like, come
down. And it's like, come on in, you sleep over here. And for 3 days, that was my home. And everybody I met was new. Some familiar faces did come through. But I was thinking to myself, like, this is like one of those places, if you had a car accident or even anything had happened, there's nobody who would have known.
No one knows. You would be
what I had done or how I got or even just a minor financial setback. I wouldn't have had gas money to come home. Like little stuff that I would never do right now.
Anything could have derailed that stuff, like real
anything. But that weekend had a lot of treasures. There was a lot of things that justified the risk. And I'm glad I did it, but I would never do anything like that again. Yeah. Not in this life. I got to life.
Christi Renee, you didn't do that? You didn't like throw caution to the wind?
I did.
Okay.
I did. I'm not going to talk about it.
Oh, man. Oh,
you just burned down your living room and you won't tell us.
That's enough.
You are banished from the group.
And I am usually very, very transparent. And
your daughter is in the room.
Let me tell you.
It's because you don't want your kids to know.
Right.
That's right. She's in her daughter's room. Her daughter in the room with you.
Burnt down her other studio.
Tell her, kick her out the room. Kick her out the room.
Heaven, close your ears.
They are. What's funny is I know at one point I had to say something to my kid to get my oldest one to get Kingdom to calm down. He had just seen Annabelle, like the last one that came out, or the one before Creations, and I picked him up from the movies, and he was yapping because he was frightened. And he does, like, when I go into shock or I'm terrified, I laugh. I have this hysterical laugh. And so that's why I was laughing so much after this whole scare, because I swear I thought I burned the building down.
Oh my God.
So he was he was like, he held my hand in the car, and I had to say something so off the wall to get him. I was like, well, that was the time when I had stripped this time. And it literally took him. He said he came out of his trance. He was like, wait, what?
You did what?
Totally caught him off guard, but I was like, I just have to throw things out there for you to just kind of calm down. So I'm not trying, but there's a time, and I told him then, I was like, it's a time and a place for them stories. This is hysterical. So
Well, I mean, you've already broached the story. So
I'm on a dare. Yeah, Karen, you don't even know those stories. It's very funny. So,
I don't even know the story. I'm feeling so left out of your life.
I know. Stripping on a dare. Now that is the story. That you done beat both of us. I don't like that.
Here I thought we were friends.
So that was a gap. It was a 10-year gap year. I was lost. I had been, but the stuff was fun. But we do stuff. And the fun now, as I said, when you first introduced this topic about this girl, Lord have mercy. I don't know how old she is. Is she a grown?
She was grown. She was in her 20s.
Now that's
that ain't so. She met somebody, and 11 hours later got on a flight to go meet them.
Now that is a nightmare. I'm telling you now. And the reason is
that is your worst nightmare.
I couldn't imagine. And again, in today's day and age. So Hilton, you talked about we didn't have all of those. You weren't on social media. You didn't have the phones. We didn't have all of that, and we would just jump in the car. We could road trip all day long, right?
Yeah.
Well, also, we didn't have a lot of the terrors that we have now. People think terror has become so sophisticated and so overly saturated with the crazy that now it's just like, hell no, we're not doing that. And if you don't know that by now, I mean, we deal with a lot of, and I hate to be a party pooper with the bummer news, but we do a lot of, a lot of Black women go missing. And so there's a story out right now. I cannot think of this young lady's name, but they still try with this Tinder date situation.
I remember. Yes.
That whole story and her murder. And I was like, no, we're not doing that no more. So them stories today, I'm like, tell me something. If that happened in the 90s,
exactly.
I get it.
Yeah.
Well, back then we didn't have, we weren't aware. We didn't, because we didn't have the internet, and because we didn't have YouTube,
and we also had different codes back then. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but we also had different codes with friends. We had you knew, like the squad, you ain't going wait a minute.
Yeah,
we all go to the club.
Yeah,
you don't leave nobody behind. We all going to the after party. We all gonna look crazy at the after party. Yeah. We all going to the hotel.
We all would stand in the way if a girl was trying to leave with the guy that she just met. We were like, oh no,
y'all be like the Marines. We came together, we leaving together, no land left behind.
Right.
No, but women had to do that. Like we did do that. And I will say that was, the thing is, like what I did was so like baby. Like it's nothing.
Right. That's
like it's not even it was just me adventuring. I had a moment, I could go, I could do. But I know like there are obviously stories that I always tell people, I'm like, man, this day and age, y'all can't do what we could do back in the day. We didn't really have the fear of, like the things that we know about. Like you said, there's so many things that we know about that happen. I will literally take an Uber and drop my location to my husband, like even if wherever I'm at. But for me, like to think about meeting someone if I were single and getting on a plane. So if she got on a plane and flew 11 hours, that means she left the United States, because there's no place you can live. I live on the West Coast. Even if I went all the way to the East Coast, you get there in 5-6 hours. She left the United States to go meet someone she met 11 hours ago. Oh man, I could not imagine.
That I feel.
I could not imagine. I'm scared in foreign countries. Like If you go to jail in a foreign country, their rules are different than our rules. Like
I'd rather be kidnapped in some countries than go to jail. Like y'all ain't got no Sandinistas that can take me.
I fear for the update on this story. I really do. It makes me nervous. I automatically assume the worst, but I just hate stuff like that.
I don't think it was the worst, but I mean, I just don't know that I would ever do anything like that.
You know what messed me up?
That's a little too far for me.
I'm gonna tell you what movie messed me up with that, and I'll never do it again. And it came out. I want to say it's early 2000s or whatnot, but that damn Hostel set me over the edge. So movies like Hostel and Taken, like that's real.
I never, ever fear movies that or get scared because of movie scenarios that don't apply to me. And I really don't see a whole lot of us going to foreign countries and just staying in some building that's kind of community
culturally.
You know what though?
Hiking in the mountains alone.
I know quite a few people who, because we do cons all over, right? And we have a whole crew that helps us in Europe, that live there. And like they literally, young girls, they stay in hostels. And I was like, I am not staying anywhere where I'm sharing a bathroom. Somebody could walk in that. I don't have a locked situation. Like I was like, oh no. And they're like, no, it's just European. It's just what we do here in Europe.
And that is Europe. The cultural norms there
totally
and
different.
The way that people behave toward one another there have different
and they share a room with a stranger.
Yeah, that's
like they could be in the same, it could be in a different bed, but they're in the same room as a stranger.
They have them here.
Never.
They have them here. Like if you go on Airbnb right now, you can find hostels that'll say it's a hostel because it's bunk beds. It's just a giant room full of bunk beds and
sleep.
Crash
pads.
Crash pads, absolutely. But it's just I can't. And you're right. It's a cultural thing, and I said it.
Well, Chris,
there's some things we just don't do.
I would say, to kind of put an added dimension to Karen's question, it kind of does point to our age and the age we came up in, that when we think about the wildest and craziest thing we did during our formative years, it is traveling somewhere physically and being in a new environment physically and geographically for a period of time that is non-determined and There are adventures that are happening in a more microcosmic way, if you will, where people are doing things that are far more dangerous blocks from their house. Like somebody sneaking, a high schooler sneaking out of their house and going, hopping on a metro or a bus and going to meet somebody that they're not really sure they know. And, people getting snatched off the streets because they thought they were meeting somebody who was catfishing them, and they get snatched into a van, but the adventure piece of it, the adventures, because of social media, because of the interconnectivity of the community that we didn't have, people are able to do a lot of the stuff that we did that took distance and physical effort. They're able to do these things like 5 blocks from the house, or at conventions, or within the context of their own high school and stuff. They're doing it within these groups of social circles that are far more known and intimate and familiar places, doing dangerous and unfamiliar things. So even if they're having it, it's not quite the same thing. I think that ours was better, again, because Karen, what did you say? You said, I'd never been to New York before. Right, and I was having an adventure, an actual physical adventure.
Well, wait.
I had been to New York before, but I had never been.
We had protection.
In a neighborhood.
We were in a bubble.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Like when I went,
you stepped out of your comfort zone and you lived in New York.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Like I have been to places like, have you been to Las Vegas? Like, I was on a family trip, so I have been to Las Vegas, but now at 30, I went to Las Vegas, and now I can say I've been to Las Vegas. So it's that kind of that same thing. So which, by the way, I think that's where most people go and do the craziest and most dangerous stuff that they will ever do as an adult, as they go to Vegas. Vegas is like,
oh my gosh, I have never in my life seen people be so drunk in Vegas. And they don't know where they are. I don't know. They don't know how they got back to their room. Like they're so they don't even know. We saw a guy, and he was with some people, and literally his friends had walked off. They didn't even realize that he was just by himself and just out of it so bad. And like, he literally was there by himself and like fell and like hit himself and like, and I was like, anybody could walk up to this guy and like steal his wallet or punch him or hurt him or murder him. Like, I mean, anyone, we're his friends. We're the people that
the next CSI headline.
Yeah, well, because like a bunch of strangers, when he fell, we all surrounded him and we were trying to get him help because he like literally hurt himself to where he needed some sort of medical attention, needed stitches. And nobody was around. And I was like, anyone could rob this man, kill this man, do something terrible to this man. And who's here to help him? And like maybe 15, 20 minutes later, a group of friends came back and were like, oh, where were you? Like, they were just as drunk and they were like, we lost him. Yeah. And I'm like, he needs stitches. And see, like, we were just like so annoyed.
See, with us, there's always that one person who's designated sober, whether you're driving or not. Yeah. There's that one person who holds back because I got to stay sober enough because I know how Ricky gonna do.
Yeah,
or I know if Sharon gets off in a corner, if we lose sight of Sharon, she's gonna fall in love with somebody and we're gonna hear from her on Tuesday.
And be gone.
I gotta be the drill sergeant in the group and can't have as much fun as everybody else.
It's always me because I'm not a drinker. And so, because I'm too much of a control freak. So even when I do drink, I don't want to drink that much. Like, I'm just like, I need to know what's going on around me. I need to know, you know, I'm that person. But it's exhausting. Like, I won't even go to Vegas with people like that. Because like, it's just exhausting. I'm not trying to babysit nobody.
We don't go anywhere here, but I can't, even if I am out and somebody is doing the most, I'm irritated. I'm not even connected to the, like, I'm automatically irritated when you came in being loud. You had 2 sips and you are now off the charts. Like, ain't nobody, it's not,
there's nothing it ain't worse than that loud drunk that just comes in and dominates the energy of the room.
The worst of the worst. And please don't be dancing and then put your hair on. Like, I lose it. I have to go home. I can't.
But
listen. I am the best. As little as I do get drunk when I go to places where I know I'm going to let loose and party, I know for a fact I'm the best drunk there is. Because
tell us why. Tell us what qualifies you as the best drunk.
The first thing that happens when I get drunk is that I get smooth. Like, I'm that brother that, like, I go from Sherman Klump to Buddy Love, but not the crazy Buddy Love at the end of it. Not the crazy Buddy Love from it, but the first version. You know, I'm just like, okay, I'm in the vibe. I can dance a little uninhibited because I'm not really caring what people think about me, which is as much as I really want. I just want to get drunk enough not to care if I'm dancing poorly or you know what I mean. But I never like, you know, the further out I go, it's like I lose balance or anything like that. But I get hyper. I go from smooth to hyper conscious, which is weird because you start hyper conscious, you get smooth, and then I get, because like, wait a minute. Now that I know that I might have just a little bit more to drink than I wanted to have, okay, now I got to make sure I'm not yelling and I'm not breaking people's airspace and I'm not swinging my arms and about to knock somebody's drink over. So now I'm like hyper, like, okay, I know I'm drunk, so I gotta, you know. So I kind of have
more
those
like
fears.
That. I'm more
because I'm like, I don't want to be, really I don't want to be the person that I get pissed at when I'm sober and they're drunk. Like, I'm over here worried about Ricky, but now I'm turning into Ricky. Like, no, I gotta line it up. You know.
The funny thing is, I'm that person even not drunk. Like, I'm loud. I'm like dancing all day in front of people. I'm like getting in people's space. Like, I'm the sober person that gets on your nerves.
You the person that people think is
drunk around me. I get just as lit as they get. Like, I am not skipping a beat. Like, I don't have to be drunk to have a good time. I can be right there with you.
Oh, you're a good one, because life has beaten me down. I need a drink to really to know that the fight over for like an hour? Can I have a break from the struggle for an hour? Good. I need a drink. Just let me. Just in this little space of time, I'm gonna let everything.
I'm not saying I don't drink. I do have a drink. Like, I will have a drink. I'm just not a drinker. Like, I have like the one drink maximum, because one drink will get me. I'll be buzzed off of one drink. Like, that's how much I don't drink. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I had my days. I've had my days of that too much.
We need to know about these days, though. You can't tell us you had your day.
No, I'm just talking about the drinking
details. We need the details, the dirty beats.
I'm just talking about the generic whole drinking thing. Like, it's no fun being sick. It's no fun being the next morning. Like, none of that is fun. And I feel like shame on me. Like, why did I even? But I get it, because it's kind of I don't know. It's just a season you go through. You either go through it or you don't.
I will give it up to Vegas, though, because you can have a knockdown, like, drink way too much and you can go get an IV and be good.
Right.
Like they have all the equipment to help you bounce back.
Now I would.
Vegas knows what dumb decisions you're gonna make before your plane even lands.
They have prepared. Yes.
Right. Yeah. And you go to Charleston, South Carolina, and try to pull a Vegas move. They'll be like, he's dead. We don't know what to do.
He dead.
We don't know what he's on.
He gone.
Vegas, man, they have such an operation there, and it's really weird to know that you are in a place that has a mechanism, a machinery behind almost anything you want to do: gamble, drink, party, concerts, comedy shows.
Yeah.
See, it's all let me there. Go as far as you want. We'll meet you there. Whereas other places are like, we don't go that far.
I'm more interested in going to Vegas, not for drinking, because you can get alcohol anywhere. It's the other thing. It's the other thing. I would like to go and enjoy.
What other thing?
The natural herbal scenario.
Oregano
that you can do legally. Yes, because it's legal and you have all these
in LA.
Okay, but I'm just saying.
It's not in Texas, though.
No, it's not.
It's in Texas. Oh,
no,
and probably never will be. Oh my gosh.
No, it's not. So traveling for that, like that's totally different. I need a good gummy. Like, come on, I need a brownie.
We've been imagine for a long time.
Enjoy that.
I'm just thinking, like, Vegas is such a high energy place. I cannot imagine the effects of THC melding with a place that is so.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Because it's like, THC is like kind of like a mellowing. You're kind of like in your own head and kind of, whereas
and everything,
right?
Exactly, like paranoia.
Do you know how relaxing sitting in front of the Bellagio and watching that damn water?
Christi's at a point in her life where she just wants to relax.
You not in Vegas. You on the strip.
She's over the turn up.
Yeah,
over the turn up.
I got a different kind of turn up. I got to turn down, baby. Turn down for what?
Okay.
That's
I'm kind of in the middle. I can turn up and I can turn down. I can go either way.
Depends
on who's at the party. Depends on who's at the party.
I just saw you this weekend. We did a couple of moves this weekend. Yeah. So I can still
and you caught me at the end of the party, because like at the beginning
and I was just showing up.
She showed up at the end. So I had like 30 minutes left in me, and I was like,
put on some
playing with kids. I was like in charge of the children at the party.
Put on some Luke any day. And it is break it down, like hands on your knees, peach drop. It's you getting all of that. You're gonna
get this Dick's Sporting Goods and get some knee braces.
Right.
Boy, I thought you were going somewhere else.
I just can't bring it back up.
He was gonna go with that.
I was like, do what?
Dick's Sporting Goods. What we gonna get it next?
No, look, the dances that we used to do.
Yes,
these were not dances
This
stuff is athletic. You need to stretch.
Let me tell you something.
Warm your joints up.
Let me tell you something. We used to go from press and curl to Jerry curl.
Look
that's
at the
how
picture.
hard we were dancing.
Look at the picture right behind Karen. We got on knee pads, I think, in that day.
We got on knee pads, yeah.
Wow.
It was. Oh no, but we usually.
This is the classic, but
usually that's how we performed. We always had knee pads on because we were up and down, up and down, up and down. That's why my knee is raggedy now, Lord.
Lord.
Since we're talking about craziness, we're gonna end with the craziest thing I heard.
Oh boy.
There was I don't know if you guys heard about this, but you guys know Nelly, the rapper.
Lord.
She's heard about this story. Okay, so he supposedly accidentally posts a video to his Instagram stories of a woman pleasuring him. And it was up for a little bit and he immediately took it down. But I think the reaction to this video was not what he was expecting. Most of the comments and most of the reaction, they were using a lot of memes like the emoji, the shrimp emoji. And a lot of women were disappointed with what they saw in the video. With the star of the video was not as impressive as.
And they'll be first in line. They will be first in line. These same jokers. Now don't get me started on that topic. I can't like go far into that. But we are not being realistic, and that is hilarious. But if he ever made a pass, or that was so old school. I just told my age.
I know she got real country. She got real Southern and real.
If he ever made a pass at anybody that's out there trying to talk it down and shrimperize him,
right?
They'd be all over that shrimp.
Yeah. I thought it was very it was just like, come on. I didn't see the video. I didn't watch it. I wasn't going to.
I haven't seen it. I just heard about it.
But I think it was just like, come on. Like, I don't know if he accidentally posted that or if he intentionally posted that. I don't know what the motive was, because I don't know how you accidentally post anything to your Instagram stories. Like, it's kind of like, I don't know how that could accidentally happen. So I'm questioning it. No, he's not married. He's not married at all. He's a single man. And one thing I will say, he did apologize to the woman, and he apologized to her family and was like, look, I didn't mean to put her out there like that. I did not mean, to do that to her, which I thought was pretty classy, because I didn't, I thought if anything, he would have backtracked and kind of protected himself, but not brought her up. But he did apologize to her and her family. But I wasn't buying the accidental posting of a video.
I think that he probably got caught up in the moment and was like, okay, maybe this is worthy of documentation. You might have been drunk or high.
I think
whatever.
I think there was some drinking involved.
And then you're like, oh, wait a minute. Things that go up online are permanent and da 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 da. But the reaction from the online community, I think, is more telling. I think that's really where the story is. Because if women are really good at, in these neutral type of conversational spaces like we're having, saying, oh no, it's not about size, it's really about the feeling and the connection and all the stuff. And that's I totally believe that's true. But at the same time, I don't. And history and everything we know about human psychology and gender relations, points to the fact that if you are not showing, the proper presence in your endowment, this is what will happen. Guys, look, you see his face? You see him laughing?
It's your choice of words.
That is what will happen to you.
I was surprised that you kept it so PG.
I'm laughing at you.
I want people to be able to I don't want to be.
I got you.
But the truth is that for guys, it's literally a man can do a lot of things with his life, right? You can build up muscle and get buff and tough. You can smooth out and get your beard right and your hair straight and skin and everything. And you can do handle your business, make money. Yeah. There's a lot of things you can do to enhance it. The size of what God gave you is the one thing that you literally are, that is all you will ever have. Yeah. It is all you are given.
There's really no surgery to change that.
No.
They haven't
not when you want. Not when you want. So it's like, and women kind of have their own version of this, but y'all can, at the end of the day, you can enhance. There's a lot more that you can do to assuage those concerns. So when
and enhancements, people, and big booties, big breasts, you can do a lot of things.
And when a woman comments on your stuff as being inadequate, even though she don't know you, even though they've never been with you, whatever like that, that cuts to the soul. It's the hardest.
What I feel like what he failed to realize is that social media is mean. Like there is a meanness.
It don't even have to be accurate.
That man, there were so many people who were like, he's not that small. Like y'all are tripping. But I think what he underestimated was how mean social media is. And they're going to take any chance to bring someone down. Like it's almost like if that's why they always say, don't read the comments, don't engage, because there's just someone sitting at home who's just going to flippantly say something about you, say something or do something mean. And if you ever met that person on the street and you ever like confronted them, they would never stand behind what they said, or they would backtrack. They'd be like, would be like, oh, I didn't mean it like that. I was just saying something. I was trying to be funny. And like it was kind of weird because there were a certain group of people who were like, guys, he's normal sized. It's not even anything like that. Y'all are just being mean for the sake of being mean. Like this is your one chance to take a shot at him and you're taking it. And so that's what I think he underestimated. Because let's say allegedly he posted the video and meant to do that in a drunken stupor. I don't know. We have no idea what happened in this moment. But let's say he did it on purpose. I think he doubted how mean social media could be. And they're ruthless. They're ruthless. They'll take a yard. No,
and you know what that's called, Karen. Even if he for a second thought, I'm drunk, I'm gonna do this, whatever, and I'm getting my whatever. You effed around and found out, and that's what that looks like. Now I don't condone or approve the meanness or the nastiness, but if for a half a second he thought, I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna snatch it, and then play the victim or play like, oh my God, it was listen, you're gonna find out. You're gonna find out about these people because people are horrible.
On the flip side of that, we've had a lot of celebrities that have had leaks of them taking pictures of them in various states of coitus and not having the backlash. And it's kind of, I think we're very, very picky and choosy about who we're mean to, why, and in what context. And that's what made the meanness
some people are famous from it now. Some people have built empires off of the foolishness.
They took the
but they
minutes
hadn't,
and they made it
it's
into
either this or this.
Yeah.
And they hadn't seen, I think, but there's more people who've gotten famous off of it than have had careers hurt by it.
Yeah.
Like,
it's almost
it's
a part
weird.
of it to be infamous and to be kind of scandalous, where that would have canceled you out in the 90s, even the 2000s. Now it almost puts you on.
It's like, where's your sex tape? Like, where's your pic,
like,
the leaks of your, of your walking around in your bikini with one cheek out? What is, where is that video or picture of you is what they expect of people of a certain level of fame.
I also think that it's a huge market. Like it's almost become like, you think about Instagram, you go on Instagram, all these girls are half naked. Like it's almost so in your face. It's too much. Like I'm almost like, is there anything else to it? Like there used to be like dimensions. Like there's dimensions to a woman where the women who I think who are the sexiest and the most appealing, they've done it. Like there are so many dimensions to them. They're not putting their butt out on Instagram every single day. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, it kind of goes to that. I think it plays into something that this generation is into, and they're into the attention, the physical, sexual attention. And they yearn for it. Like it's almost the bargaining chip that they've chosen to kind of use. And it's kind of shocking. And I know it's because we're of a certain age that we see it this way, but I just like, I'm kind of like, I'm over it.
Yes.
Well, I think we're gonna get tired of it before it gets tired of us. Here's what has happened. There is an explosion of budding social media stars that are coming from NCAA Division 1, 2, and 3 athletics since that landmark decision that allows athletes to make money off of their name and off of their likeness. And when we were thinking about it 10 years ago, we were talking about the UNC Chapel Hill players who ended up in a video game and didn't get any money.
Right.
But what we weren't thinking about was the volleyball player who also looks great in a bikini, who, you know, is now going to put themselves out there in a certain way on social media to get likes and get followers. And then the brands come. And what's funny is that these athletes are not necessarily getting sponsored because of what they're doing on the court or on the field, but the results of them being on the court, on the field, gives them a certain platform from which they can much more easily achieve the fame that you see on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. And the brands are jumping on that. So it's like a secondary fame that they can now build on that legally they could not do before because they didn't really own their own likeness. And now you got Gatorade and you got Bang or drinks and hair products and teas and coffees that are just like, hey, you know, you look great. Here's some, put this lotion on and show this for a picture, and we'll give you $1,000. I'm like, oh my God.
And
so
here's the thing. I know you're going to say something, Christi, because you're in this world.
I am.
But it's one of those things where you have to ask yourself the question: the money that is being made is lucrative. Like, it is money. It's more money than some of them have ever seen, and in just a matter of a post. It's not even, you know, it's a matter of a post and a post going viral. So you ask yourself the question, especially athletes or people who come from humble means. I mean, I don't know. You ask yourself the question: do you turn that kind of money down, or do you buy into it? And I'll let you take the reins. You're in this world, Christi.
So I am literally co-owner of. We have an entire actual marketing and management that is built and rooted in NIL for student athletes. We have a clientele, one of which is one of our favorites. Our number one, our first client is star at SMU basketball. Here's the thing. It seems so. What the media did was put out these high dollar stories like Masterpiece Son and all this kind of stuff. Listen, those are so far and few in between. Those are anomalies in the real world. So let me tell you why they're not going to be. It's not what we think, where you just post and go viral and you get all this money. That's not even how it works. Because I'm going to tell you what a lot of these programs doing, especially these D1, D2s, and anybody else to follow. The NCAA has made eligibility, put it right in the forefront. That's the key. And that's our whole purpose. And what we do with our agency is we're protecting their eligibility. Not mama, not daddy, uncle, granny. Nobody's going to get in the way of that. So we for certain are not going to allow some, company who just is going to promise you $500 to make a post. We're not doing that. We haven't done not one of those. We almost did a trading card deal. It just wasn't a good fit. We could have done that, but why? It would have put a bit more of a blemish, I think, on the quality of the overall impact that we're trying to get these student athletes to reach. So it's not that simple. It is a concern. I think it was one of the concerns going into this, but a lot of these schools are actually like, we have a kid at Texas A&M right now, one of my favorite players in all of the land. And that program has said no to any NIL deals. You're not signing contract. You're not, we're just trying to protect them in this bubble right now because it's so new and people are still fighting it. The NCAA is not happy about it. Do not think for a second when Ed O'Bannon started this battle years ago, they are not happy about it. So what's happening is while they're still trying to map it out and rules and legislation and all of that, which, Congress they voted. It's a vote. So we can do it. But what's happening is the initial energy that people were sending out, like what we were just talking about, how you're getting these deals and these girls can be putting themselves out, or these males and all that. I see underwear deals. I see all that kind of stuff. They're not they're not producing. So now what's having to happen is you're going back to the drawing board. And a lot of these kids don't have representation. They don't have someone to guide them through this process.
Right. I was going to say the kids that you represent are lucky, but there's
it's a lot of them that are not.
Don't have
someone
there to protect them.
You're right. And that's going to be the trick to getting that to where we don't have those instances where now you've put out something or you've connected with something so questionable that now you're messing with your eligibility. Like there are rules and regulations here beyond the money. That money don't mean nothing. And a lot of it,
like conduct rules and things like that.
And it's
image of the school and
right. Okay. Those policies are first. They come first before you get to the NIL piece. So if you are abandoning those, then 9 times out of 10, I mean, it'll catch up to you, or you'll be, it's not going to work. So, and again, don't get me wrong. A lot of them have found out the hard way. And because we have, Angie's daughter, Corey, who is a star soccer player. She got hurt before we could get really a hold to, but I created a whole campaign around her. And it was again, it's keeping it classy. What we define as classy as a student athlete.
But you know what? This new generation, they don't feel like what they're doing is not classy. They feel like they're just doing what everybody else is doing.
Right. Because they don't have a definition for classy. Right. They don't. That's not even part of their lingo.
And at the end of the day, some of them may not even have aspirations to go pro. Right. They may be looking at, I'm going to play, and then I'm going to use this as a way of getting a brand out there, or getting a personal brand that I could then leverage for something else. Because we do know that the amount of people who are playing college basketball and football, especially, it's just a fraction of them actually get to have successful careers in the pros,
professional.
But now, if they are building brands that kind of transcend what they're doing on the field or on the court, they're looking at this. The window of opportunity to make money used to be if you went pro, and now that window of opportunity is shifting to like right now while you are playing. And this is not just college students, but even high school level athletes are out there putting their image, that is built upon, their brand that they are kind of creating around their play, whether or not they're good or not. Like some of these, it's funny because you think, oh, that must be the best soccer player in the world. Like, no, just
they're just the most popular.
They're just really, really cute, and people want to watch them play, and they're going to use that
it's like the Anna Kournikova kind of thing.
Yeah,
she never won anything. She wasn't even the star tennis player, but she was the one that had all the deals and had all the stuff, and then we're like, did she ever win anything? Did she ever really compete?
I thought she won all the Olympics.
Yeah.
And won the gold cup and
got a medal.
She became real famous. Oh, I hate that we started talking about this at the end of our show.
It's so good.
Another show.
We're going to have to talk about this again. We will definitely pick up this subject and we'll dive even deeper, because it's such a interesting thing with this or I always say this generation, like I'm old and gray or whatever, but it's just a new way of becoming famous, a new way of becoming infamous. And we're going to dive into that again on our next show. So tune in next week. Guys, we are the BOP, the BLERD official podcast. We are so happy you're with us. Be sure to share, be sure to like, and tell all your friends about us, because we're happy to be here. Until next time, you guys stay cool, stay nerdy. Bye.
Bye, everybody.